This is 40K Today. You think a new edition every few years is cool. We do a new edition every day, except Sundays. Sundays we play.
Hello and welcome to 40K Today. This is your 15-minute daily news and interview show that covers the entire hobby of Warhammer 40,000. We get competitive on the tabletop, we paint and kit bash with the best in the business, we find hobby tips, and we meet the most amazing people in our all-around awesome community. Today is Monday, the 13th of July, and on the show, we talk to another woman in Warhammer who's really, really cute and a Warhammer hero. First up, though, we have a poll question live on our Facebook page. Let's get to it. Our 40K Today poll question of the week is just this. Painting standards have existed in tournaments for a very long time. In friendly games, will you be implementing the new 10-point rule for painting and base in your army? Make sure you come to our 40K Today Facebook page and sound off. Let us know. We want to hear your opinion. We have a lot of heroes out there doing good work to bring the community together. This week, we get to highlight Phil from the ID Card Project. The ID Card Project, if you don't know, is where Phil makes these custom ID cards for custom chapters, and they look very official, and it's very, very cool. So let's get to it. Hello, Phil. Welcome to the show. You're doing a really, really cool project that's sort of based in Instagram called the ID Card Project. Do you want to tell people what that's all about?
Yeah. So again, it's almost been around for a year now. I set it up on the 13th of August last year. Basically, I wanted an ID card doing for my own custom chapter, posted it up on Instagram and got inundated with messages of people asking whether I could create one for them. So it's kind of snowballed from there, to be fair. I didn't expect it to kind of become what it is today. So yeah, if you'd like to have a look at them, head on over to the ID Card Project and have a look at some of the ID cards that I've created up there.
Yeah, so like how many ID cards for custom chapters do you think? And just so listeners know what we're talking about, GW produces these like for all of their lore chapters, right? These cards that describe the chapter, talk a little bit about the lore, have pictures. They look really cool, right? And so you're doing this for people's custom chapters, and it
Yes.
looks very official, which is what's really neat about it. It sort of like blends in with the GW release stuff to sort of keep it all in the same cohesive world, which is awesome.
Yeah. It's like a different way of people showcasing their own custom chapters, but in a kind of a more like official look, if you will.
Yeah, no, it's really, really cool and really, really fun. So let's talk a little bit about some of the people that you've met through this, because you were telling me that you've had some really, really fun stories. So let's hear one for the listeners.
I have the one which has mainly stuck with me. It was kind of right at the beginning, to be fair. Chatting with a bloke who is really into his Warhammer, but was actually out on deployment in Afghanistan. And like I said, I've met loads of awesome people through this, but I was chatting away with him, and he kind of came back with the feedback that this has kind of rekindled his love for the hobby, and it's him being able to do something Warhammer based without actually being with his minis or being able to play. So he again was like so grateful for that, and I've never thought of like something that I was producing could be seen in that light. So I was quite shocked and like kind of taken aback with that feedback.
Yeah, that had to make you feel like $1 million, right? Just to get the kind of feedback where somebody who is clearly in a situation that is difficult, right? And having been deployed to Iraq myself, I can tell you that there's just a lot of things that you miss from home, and being able to sort of plug into that in some way is a very powerful thing. So I think you should feel good about that. That's really, really cool.
Few home comforts.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to get an ID card made, what would the process be? Like, how would they go about doing that?
just to head on over to the ID card project, drop me a message. I have like a set of standard questions which I ask, a bit of lore history of your own chapter. If you send us a couple of pictures, we can basically take it from there and then chat about how I would go and design your ID card for you.
That's amazing. So, how many chapters do you think you've done? Like ballpark, like how many custom chapters do they have ID cards out there for on the ID card project?
So I kind of had a look at it earlier. I've not really been counting, and I was again shocked. I've done probably about 170 of these now, which is absolutely crazy.
That's
So
that's amazing. Do you have any plans to expand outside of Space Marine chapters, or is it just Space Marines?
it is mainly Space Marines at the moment. I do have a Chaos Space Marine template, which I use. There's a couple other things in the pipeline, but Space Marines have kind of been keeping me busy recently. So, but yeah, like other than it being like creating it for just like say one person, I've actually got a free poster which is downloadable on the ID card project, so anyone can download that of past ID cards that I've done, so you can either get printed out, put it on your hobby wall, maybe some inspiration for coming up with your own chapter ideas.
That's awesome. I think that's the true value of this project, right? Is it just showcases everybody's creativity and helps you sort of, get into your own headspace and figure out what you want to do. So last thing before I let you go, I heard through the grapevine that you guys are doing a promotion with the Army Painter. My good friend Adam was telling me about it. You want to tell everybody at home about the new promotion you guys are doing?
Yeah, so Adam kind of sent me a message. He'd heard about the ID card project and wanted some stuff doing for his own custom chapter, the Philadelphia. And basically, we got chatting, and we've kind of come up with an idea of doing a competition together. So if you head on over to the ID card project, that we've got a mega paint set from the Army Painter that you can win. There's 50 paints in there. There's a brush, painting guide. It's a huge prize, and basically to try and help people give that extra push of getting rid of all the grey plastic. Also to tie in with creating your own chapters as well.
Very, very cool. All right, Phil, thank you so much for your time.
Amazing. Thank you.
I love it when others are making the game experience better for other people. Make sure you check out his Instagram and see all the cool custom chapters. Next up, Tanya brings us another woman in Warhammer. Today's episode of 40K Today is brought to you by Frontline Gaming. Frontline Gaming is a one-stop shop for all your Warhammer hobby needs, discounted products, American-made gaming mats and terrain, and a full line of miniatures painting service and daily hobby content. And this can all be found at frontlinegaming.org. One of my favorite segments is our Women in Warhammer segment. Ava is an 8-year-old who is getting into wargaming with her dad. She and her dad, Rob, talk with Tanya and offer advice for getting your kids into Warhammer too. We should pass down our love for the game, am I right?
Thank you so much for coming onto the program, Ava.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I know that you play Age of Sigmar with your dad. What do you enjoy most about playing the game?
I like playing the bosses because they're more powerful, and usually I beat my dad at all of them.
I love it. So, what models have you painted, and do you have a favorite one?
I've painted more than 3, but I've picked out 3 that I like. I like the Dark Oath War Chief, the Ishran Tidecaster, the Stormcast Eternal Celestial, and the Vindicator. And I actually won a competition for the Youngblood Best Painted for that one.
Ah, what do you like most about those models? What makes them your favorite?
Well, because the first one I followed along with a tutorial, and the second one I just used bright colors for all of them. And the third one, I really like it because I put snow on it, and then it's got lots of detail.
I love it. So, would you recommend the game for any other girls your age?
Yeah, because you don't just get to paint, you get to play a game as well. It's like you can get like a board and you could draw anything you wanted and just play without even painting it if you wanted.
So, there's a lot of freedom in the game to do a lot of different things?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Like, you have lots of different characters, and there's a boss in each one, and all of the bosses have the most power. It's like you've got an advantage on it.
Yeah. I actually love playing Age of Sigmar, but this podcast is about playing Warhammer 40K. Do you ever think that you might give Warhammer a try?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ava.
You're welcome.
So, Rob, how did you start playing the game of Age of Sigmar with your daughter? Did that happen naturally, or did that take some like coaxing?
Yeah, it wasn't really coaxing. It was more of a natural. She would take an interest in what I was doing. And once she started to kind of become more and more interested in the painting side of things, I think the natural progression for her was, what does daddy do when he goes down the store with his friends? He normally plays a game. I want to play a game. So what we started to do was make a very stripped back version of AOS, whereas you had movement, you had your attacks and things like this, but you didn't have battle shock. It's kind of not quite balanced, but it really, really worked, I think, to interest her and to show her that different models did really different things. And as she kind of liked it, I think because she won, and I think currently she's beat me about 6 times.
8 times.
Oh, about 8 times to my measly 2 wins, I think. You kind of do get that little bit of thirst for it, and then you want to try a little bit more. And I think that's where she's kind of at the stage now. And I think the last thing we did was we ran it was Ogre versus Maggotkin.
Yeah.
In our local game store. We booked out the table to ourselves, and we actually played 2 games back to back, taking turns to be the different armies. And I think I won 1 and you won 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a draw, but you know, for an 8-year-old girl to kind of grasp everything does something different and to play to an advantage, and you know, it was a really good learning curve for her to kind of start small. And it's something that I've often said I wish they did almost like a junior version of Warhammer, because as a parent, it would save me a hell of a lot of time explaining these rules if you just had a product that was kind of box ready, which I think would be a really good entry point for especially people Ava's age, to kind of get started in the hobby.
That's actually a really great idea. Do you have any advice for any other dads who might want to introduce the game to their daughters?
Yeah, I guess Warhammer can be a very niche thing. Let them show the interest. I think with most things, when you try and kind of force it upon people, sometimes it can be that it's when you get that rebellious streak in kids, is let them take an interest and let them ask. I've never once forced or suggested. I always wait for my kids to kind of ask, Dad, let's do some painting. Dad, can we play a game? Because I think that's a better way of, it shows their curiosity is piqued, as opposed to you're saying, hey, come look at this. Sometimes kids can be very fickle and they have to be in the mood for things. Not all kids are the same, but I know my 2 are very fickle when it comes to stuff like this. If they don't want to do something, they're not going to do it. And no amount of me trying to appeal to them is not going to go anywhere. So I think it's let them show an interest, and if they don't, they don't. If they do, then that's when you nurture it and you try and help it grow, and you try and encourage them to do it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on the program, guys. I was so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
How cute was that? I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. And we'll be watching for Ava on those top tables someday soon. Okay, 40K folks, let's get pumped for Model of the Day.
It's the model of the day, the model of the day, the model of the day.
This week's Model of the Day is none other than Gaz Cole himself. This Gaskell sports the classic Goff color scheme we all know and love. Black armor is accented with metallic highlights and makes his power claw look downright dangerous. The neutral scheme brings attention to the face of the model, making that green a focal point. Battle-worn checker pattern on the shoulder complete this lore-inspired paint job, and boy, does he look like a beast. You should definitely come and check it out on our Instagram or on our Facebook. If you have a model that you want featured on 40K Today as a model of the day, just tag your photos with the hashtag 40K Today, or send us a message on Facebook, and we'll look at getting you on the show. And that's it for today. A big thanks to our content producer, Alex Boehner, our amazing social media Wonder Woman, Tanya Gates, and our technical producer, Seamus Ronan, for all their hard work, once again, putting the program together. If you like the show and like to help us out, we'd love it if you left us a review. Those reviews help people find the show, and we're extremely grateful for every single one. Until then, for the 40K Today team, I'm John Damaris, and that's what's happening in 40K.